What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and here we are going with another tier list. And the very first tier list we did on the channel, we obviously did MCU Marvel movies as a whole. It took a long time, it was like a 45-minute video. So I thought we would do a tier list for all non-MCU Marvel movies. Obviously, there's films on here that could be considered MCU canon now, the likes of Sam Raimi's Spiderman, Andrew Garfield's Deadpool's. But these films were never designed to be part of the MCU, so they're on the tier list. We've got we've got named tiers for some reason. You Know Who I Am is, I'm guessing, this top tier. These are incredible. How'd that get in there? So good. Here's Your Change, Butterfingers, and Pack Your Things, Get Out of My Building. A lot of the Fox stuff, I'm assuming, will be Butterfingers because they had the word at their feet in terms of comic book properties, and they, for a lot of their films, not all of them, a lot of their films, they fumbled the bag so hard. So we're just going to start off from the beginning. Technically, one of the first, if not the first, proper comic book adaptation, especially from Marvel. I don't know, but I think the original Daredevil was 2003, so I think it was before that. But Blade 1, we're going to go, these are incredible. Blade, like, Wesley Snipes is Blade. One thing I will say about, I am excited for the MCU reboot of Blade, but I think Mufasa Ali, he has got some job just not emulating Wesley Snipes. He'll put his own spin on it, but Wesley Snipes is Blade. It's the same way whoever gets the mantle of Wolverine is going to have an issue because Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. It's whoever takes over Iron Man someday will not have my support, but they will have the same struggles. The first Blade's amazing. Like, we'd never seen anything like it when it came out until Blade 2. In my opinion, Blade 2 is the best out of the franchise. The Blade franchise is absolutely incredible. They went harder on the action. Support cast was a lot better, which is actually surprising to say considering Blade 3 coming up had the likes of Ryan Reynolds, who I love, but we'll get to that in a second. But Blade 2, it went bigger and better, and it earned its spot above the original Blade. Like, Wesley Snipes couldn't miss at this point in his career, so it was amazing. Blade 3, obviously Blade 3, Wesley Snipes had a lot of issues with the director. There's the famous scene where they had the CGI's eyes open when he was on the slab, dead, pretty much, because he refused to open his eyes. He only contacted the director with post-it notes, apparently. Refused to speak to him. I still enjoy parts of it. I actually think that Ryan Reynolds was very good in it. Of course I do. I thought Triple H, the wrestler, thought he was actually good as a bad guy, like, considering he's not normally an actor. I can't remember the guy who played Dracula, but he was fantastic. I thought he was very, very good. He's obviously from the likes of Prison Break and all, but he's a very good actor, and he was very good. But the whole story, like, they killed off quite a few popular characters as well. It wasn't for me. It's easily the weakest out of these three. Like, because of it, Blade wouldn't be winning any Best Marvel Trilogy award forever. The original Daredevil, Pack Your Things and Get Out of My Building. Like, I might be biased here because obviously since we've seen Daredevil, the Netflix show, and like it's just 100 times better. But like, Ben Affleck obviously had no really point of reference. Like, obviously Marvel themselves, or I don't know what studio created this, they weren't taking out the comic books and being like, we need to stay loyal to the character. You can tell that from Colin Farrell's Bullseye. You can tell that from Wilson Fisk. They had no interest in being a comic book actor. So, like Ben Affleck did the best he could. I'm not saying he's not good at it, but the movie is a dumpster fire. That's what the bottom tier should be called, dumpster fire. We'll do Deadpool 1 first. You Know Who I Am, and I'm sure Deadpool himself would say that to you in some promotional material. As he said recently in the Deadpool 3 trailer, he's Marvel Jesus, and he is. And he is going to save the MCU. I'm telling you, he will bring it back. He will get the excitement back. And the next movies after that will be grateful that Deadpool and Wolverine did so well. The humour in it is unreal, unmatched. Like, considering the limited budget Deadpool 1 had, because Fox didn't want to greenlight the movie, let's be honest, they didn't want to. They were forced to by the leak and the fan campaign, and they ended up spending all of their budget before they got in the final battle, and they wrote out when he forgot his guns in the back of the cab. That was because they were told that their promotional budget was part of their actual budget, and they had the last minute decide, we just have to have a sword fight essentially and a ass kicking contest as the final battle. We can't afford to be blowing stuff up, shooting loads and loads of guns. So but he made it work. It's still an unbelievable sequence, so fair play there. Deadpool 2, I've heard so many people say that Deadpool 2 is fantastic. Now, it is fantastic, but everyone says it's not as good as the first one. I actually disagree. I think Deadpool 2 is unreal. I think Josh Brolin, like, that year, he was just absolutely cooking. He obviously was Thanos, he was Cable, he was also in Sicario, like, in a big role. Like, he was just destroying at the box office at that point. I think Cable's probably one of my favourite character of his. Even above, who was he in the Goonies? I completely forgot who he was. So it's amazing. Domino is a fantastic character. It's very sad that is it Whistler? No, it's not Whistler. That's Blade. Whoever TJ Miller plays, I keep forgetting their names. It's a shame he's not going to be in any future MCU or any future Deadpool films, obviously, because of allegations. he was hilarious. You can't deny that. I didn't like Fire Fist. I didn't like Russell. I just don't know what it is. I don't like him. It's like, I don't know. I think it's just the character. Getting Colossus to swear and all was brilliant, and the whole, like, it's a very emotional film as well. All the stuff with Vanessa and all, and like, it's like, men will tell you it was emotional, and ladies will not understand. Electra, get out. Pack your bags and get out of my building. Like, they just kept releasing terrible films. It's like, we've got this, like, comic books back then, they were big. Obviously, Marvel's always been big in the comic book scene, but like, not usually with people who'd be like, oh, I'd pay money to see that film. Like, they're just kept releasing garbage. They thought they could just stick a name on it of a character comic book fans would know, and the cinemas will just be filled. No, it was garbage. I can't even spend longer talking about it. Like, it's just not a good film. That's the second Fantastic Four. Like, that's the original Fantastic Four. I'm gonna say here's your change. When it first came out, and obviously at that time you didn't have a point of reference for how good comic book movies could be, I'm gonna say I enjoyed it, and I did enjoy it. There's no point in lying about it. And so it really is just a case of they didn't do enough to follow up on that, because Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer is Butterfingers. I'll watch it. I didn't enjoy it. It was there. It's not on the level of these two. I don't know if I'll put anything on the level of these two. Actually, I will. But Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, like, all the mistakes they made in this, they could have fixed in this. Bringing back Doom again, like, in the next movie, obviously he's reverting to his human form and all. Why? The Fantastic Four has such a catalogue of, like, villains. You did not need to go back to Doom. This, like, the original Fox Fantastic Four could have easily been a trilogy, 2 trilogies, easy. This nearly scarred Chris Evans to the point where he didn't want to take Captain America. That will tell you everything you need to know. But it is still 10 times better than the 2015 reboot. What on earth were these people thinking? There's just some people who shouldn't be given a franchise. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to make films unless you are absolutely a die-hard fan of the property you are making, because this was embarrassing. Like, the cast, honestly, is fantastic. It really is. Number one, they didn't need to race swap Johnny Storm. There was no need for it. Like, Michael B. Jordan, like, he's went on to have bigger comic book roles, but what was the necessary part of it? Like, why? It's like, there's no need. It's like, the cast is actually very good. Miles Teller as well. Obviously, he's just had a brilliant part in Top Gun Maverick, but the script was so bad. I've never seen a worse script. Could be the worst script on this list. I'm going to keep it below Elektra and Daredevil, even though I'm not technically ranking these at 1, 2, and 3 and all. But Ghost Rider, I'm going to say here's your change. I can't name it so good, even though that would technically be the average pile. Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage. I'll go to the cinema for Nicolas Cage alone. Obviously it's Ghost Rider, it's goofy, it's got a skull in it, it's a dark story. The acting is terrible. Not even Nick Cage's like over exuberant performances and craziness and just shocking cheesy lines can save it, but like it's still better than all this. Yeah, just Nicolas Cage just makes it. I would love to see him show up in Deadpool and Wolverine. I would just make my year. Give him one last send off before we bring in our own Ghost Rider. Preferably someone like Norman Reedus, but I think even he might be a bit old. Ryan Gosling would be a good Ghost Rider. I don't know why I've got that in my head, but Ryan Gosling would be a good Ghost Rider, and he does need to be given someone in the MCU. Like the guy, he's not getting old, but like he needs to get a not a younger character, but someone that isn't crazy old, so he can be that character for like 10 years. I'm guessing this is the Eric Bana Hulk. Yeah, it can be down here too, obviously. Still above Fantastic Four. Yeah, it was trash. The effects were garbage. It made the Edward Norton film, in my opinion, remember, look good. Now, I don't like, and I said in my MCU tier list, I don't like the Edward Norton version at all. And it has nothing to do with Mark Ruffalo and how good he is as it. I just didn't enjoy the film. It didn't have a good villain. It didn't have a good story. I couldn't even tell you everything that happened in the film because I'm trying to remove it from my memory. Logan. I shouldn't actually do Logan first because obviously it's the last of the Hugh Jackman films. We'll try to do it in order. We'll do the original X-Men, X-Men 1. X-Men 1's incredible. In my opinion, I think there's so much more they could have done. They did set out from the jump. It did seem like in the first film they were considering having Cyclops, James Marsters, as like the leader of the X-Men, like he's meant to be. Because obviously Hugh Jackman wasn't as big physically and star power wise as he is now. But they clicked on that very fast from the looks of it. It's a very, very good film of like the cast alone, like Patrick Stewart, I've forgotten bloody Magneto's name as well. My head's absolutely fried. Yeah, Hugh Jackman, like Halle Berry. I don't like Halle Berry's Storm personally, but she was very good in this. It is incredible, and then that can bring me on to X-Men 2 if I can find it. It's, in my opinion, I was gonna say it's definitely the best X-Men film, but it's probably joint with another film that will come up here. X-Men 2 is brilliant. They took everything they learnt from the first one, and they went full balls to the wall with the second one, introducing the characters of Nightshade and all. Like, was brilliant. Like, this is when like they started flip flopping between, oh, is Magneto a bad guy? Is he a good guy? Like, every film was like that dilemma. But like it's probably one of the best X-Men films out there. I won't bring up the other one, I think, because we've got a lot of dumpster fires before we get there. X-Men: The Last Stand. Pack your bags and get out of my building, because Finney Jones as Juggernaut, really? They honestly should be ashamed of themselves. The fact that they rushed the Jean Grey story, like, and the way they did the Jean Grey story, where it's like, oh, she's just Phoenix now, she's evil. It's like a full like mystical journey. It's like yes, like the likes of the Dark Phoenix X-Men film from the newer cast, it was garbage as well, but at least they tried to follow like the actual story. They didn't do it well either, but they did try. I can't even spend too much time talking about The Last Stand. They started killing off every good character. Like killed off Professor X. It's like they just killed off Cyclops. Obviously Jean Grey died in the end. Like, spoiler alert, by the way. Like, just why? They had to have known they were going to like sort of do a soft reboot. So why would you kill all them characters off? We saw Patrick Stewart like 2 films later. It's like, what was the point? What have we got next? I can't remember. It actually came to. I think it was First Class. That's Days of Future Past. First Class was incredible. Like, you see, when it was announced they were rebooting it with a younger cast, I thought, just let it die, because Last Stand was that bad. It was amazing now. I really enjoyed it. James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Nicholas Hoult, like Jennifer Lawrence, they all came in and they all delivered. It's like the only thing this film was missing was I think an Evan Peters Quicksilver. He was in the next movie. If he had been in here, this film could have been up here. I think everyone loves Evan Peters' version of Quicksilver, and I think it doesn't even have to do if it gets compared to Aaron Taylor Johnson's version from the MCU. Just Evan Peters' version was absolutely spot on. Casting wise, it's spot on, and the fact we got shafted in WandaVision, that he was taken away from us and he wasn't the real he wasn't our Pedro, infuriates me. What have I got? It should be Days of Future Past. It's a top tier film. Like, this is when like there was the optimism going from like the rebound here to Days of Future Past and how good it was. Like, the X-Men franchise was looking strong. The whole going back and forward from the future story, where obviously all the remaining mutants are being hunted down by what do you call them? Not Celestials. It's the robots made by Stryker. I loved it. As like sending Wolverine back in time, like the actual story arc of Professor X, obviously having to decide whether he keeps taking his medication but stays disabled. It's like, it was just unbelievable storytelling. Once again, but we had Magneto going from, oh, I'm going to help yous, to, no, I'm going to betray yous. I don't even see why they're shocked at this point. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But best X-Men film, yeah, I'll stick to that. There's another top tier one coming up. You know what it is, but it is a top tier X-Men film. I think it's ahead of X-Men too, personally. There's actually going to be 3 X-Men films in the top tier. Don't be telling Fox that. But trust me, there's probably going to be more X-Men films in the bottom half than there is in the top half by the end of it, so don't worry. We've got Wolverine Origins. The simple fact of what they did to Ryan Reynolds and sewed Deadpool's mouth, they have to go in Butterfingers. I can't put it down here because Hugh Jackman's been good in every film. There's no denying that. But like, what they did to some of the characters in this is insane. It's like, one thing I will say, what do you call Sabretooth? Everybody's name's just leaving me now. Much better Sabretooth in this film than the original X-Men series, that's for sure. But it should have been so much better. See, for his first movie as well, like as a solo star, no, you could not have screwed that anymore. I think we got lucky that he was signed to a free film deal, because this could have ended it all. I still think it made a good bit of money, but that was just off buzz. Like, but if there wasn't review embargoes and all back then, this movie might not have made much of anything. The second someone came out of the cinema and said, I saw Ryan Reynolds' mouth, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to see it. The Wolverine. Here's your change. It's better than Origins. It's not good. It's just not. I don't see why they had to go to Japan or China or wherever it was. I try my best to forget the movie. The whole twist with his old friend from the Chinese army or Japanese army, whatever it is. The whole twist was dull. Every side character was dull. There's not a good side character in this movie at all. Like, the only interesting bit is the start when he goes after the hunters in the forest before he leaves the country, of course. But this movie was garbage. I'm tempted to put it in Butterfingers because they kept ruining it. How they went from this to this to this, I will never know. I put Logan ahead of X2 as well. Logan, it doesn't even feel like a comic book story. It's that good. It's just an amazing movie. It's incredible. It's like Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine at the end of his lifespan, essentially, with Patrick Stewart's Professor X, who has dementia. Like, they played it so well. And also having X-23 in the movie as well. She was, like, Daphne Keaton, I think her name is. Like, she was unreal as well. Every bit of acting in this movie is absolutely top notch. Obviously the technology for the de-aging effects on the younger Wolverine coming after them, like, everything's perfect about it. And telling us a comic book story in this day and age where the whole goal is to kill him off at the end and make it sad and to retire the character. Obviously we know that wasn't true up until recently, but it was perfect, and it made people okay with Wolverine dying because of the way it was done. You could tell he was at the end of his lifespan. They also made sure to say it was set in 2029, so it meant if Hugh Jackman ever did come back, they could set it in a universe before that date, which is fine. But it is, like, there's only one non-like X-Men property in the top tier. Fair enough. It's well, we've got a few Spider-Man coming up, so Punishers, I'm gonna just do it now. I'm putting both Punisher films in pack your bags and pack your things, get out of my building. They're garbage. Even the one with James Purefoy. I love James Purefoy and everything he's ever done. The likes of The Following, the likes of A Knight's Tale. It was they're both such bad films. I will never watch them again. I promise you that. Which one's Spider-Man #1? This one? Right. The original Sam Raimi Spider-Man. It's incredible. Like, it is incredible. The reason it's not up here is because it was outdone as well. But this was the first time Spider-Man was done in live action, and while Tobey Maguire is probably not the perfect Peter Parker, he was a very good Spider-Man. That's what people say. They say Tobey Maguire is like the perfect Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's the perfect Peter Parker, and Tom Holland is very good at both. So we've got a triple threat of good actors that have played Spider-Man so far. The writing could have been better. Green Goblin, William Dafoe, like, probably the best, like, villain in Marvel history, possibly. There's a reason they saved the likes of him and Doc Ock to come back in No Way Home, because they couldn't do better. Like, Kevin Feige admitted they've never cast their own Green Goblin and Doc Ock because they cannot do better than what William Dafoe and Alfred Molina did. And Spider-Man 2 is top tier. Like, Alfred Molina's performance as Doc Ock is unrivaled. I think it was a better performance than William Dafoe's Green Goblin, but we're talking like millimeters in like quality here. It's like they're both unreal. They're probably both the best acting performances we've seen from a Marvel villain. So it was the writing more in Spider-Man 2 and the stakes more, whereas like in the original Spider-Man, like, it's just Green Goblin shows up, blows up stuff, and that is that. Whereas, like, obviously Doc Ock, like, his original intention was to create the renewable energy, was to save the world. Like, he never wanted to be a bad guy. That's much different. Spider-Man 3, I'm gonna put in Here's Your Change. Like, obviously the first problem was Sam Raimi admitted he didn't even know who Venom was, but he was forced to put it in by Sony. That is setting your movie off the major issues right away, because Venom is such a major character. Like, we all know that Venom is huge, but like, if you don't even know who it is, like, I think they did very well with Sandman. That's not, his name's not Sandman. He did very well with Sandman. They did our version of Eddie Brock here is garbage. No offense to Topher Grace, I think his name is. It's just not good. It really is not good, especially when you compare it to what Tom Hardy's done with the character. I did like the redemption arc for James Franco's character, but up until that point, James Franco was like Harry Osborn was terrible. Like, just not terrible acting, terrible human being. in both the previous films. Like, he kept stealing Mary Jane away. And it's like, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, you didn't kill my father, I'll help you. It's like, come on, like, the writing, the acting, the directing was terrible. Even Tobey was awful. The fact that the Spider-Man dancing meme comes from this movie, that tells you everything you need to know. Is it hilarious? Of course. Is it believable that it's even part of the same universe that 1 and 2 is? No. Should have just stayed where it was. Obviously now we're coming to controversial picks, because like, Tobey was meant to get a Spider-Man 4, like, it would have included their Vulture, but obviously they let him go, they couldn't afford him anymore. They paid Andrew, I think they paid Andrew like £19 million less for his first film, Spider-Man, because Tobey was making $20 million a film, and Andrew Garfield got $1 million for his first one. I'm going to put it with Here's Your Change as well. No, I can't. It's better than Spider-Man 3. So good. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It actually took me so long to see the Andrew Garfield films. I actually waited until before No Way Home to watch these two for the first time, because I just wanted to see what Andrew Garfield's performance was all about. Honestly, all I had heard was bad things going into both films. Everyone was telling me, oh, Andrew's the worst Peter Parker, Andrew's the worst Spider-Man, his films are the worst, his villains are the worst. I agree his villains are the worst. It's one thing I will agree on. Lizard in this film, like, his logic, like, is what he does, it's terrible. But Andrew Garfield in this film and the second one, and I will say Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, perfect casting. I would love to see what Andrew Garfield would have done if he was kept on as the MCU Spider-Man with decent scripts and decent actors and stories around him, because I think he could have become the biggest Marvel character on the planet. I honestly think if Sony just let the MCU do their thing, which they should just leave the Spider-Man universe alone at this point and just collect a paycheck. I really do think that Andrew Garfield would be the poster boy for the whole MCU. That's how good I think it was. Spider-Man 2, I'm going to put it in so good as well. The whole scene, Gwen Stacy's death scene, obviously it's probably one of the most iconic scenes in Marvel, like, all together. It is absolutely devastating. Electro, the whole thing about like the nerdy guy played by Jamie Foxx, who in No Way Home became the coolest guy ever, obviously. Like, the whole thing with Spider-Man missed my birthday party, I fallen in for electric gills, now I'm Electro. No. Just no. And having their version of Green Goblin being like a secondary threat that ends up popping up at the end, surprise, kills Gwen Stacy and stuff like that, and then obviously it sets up a Sinister Six at the end of this movie. Sony just really can't get that whole setting up the Sinister Six thing right, can they? And timing wise, because obviously Andrew was let go after this. Apparently, I think it said he called in sick to work one day, and they just told me he wasn't getting the third film, and then they give the rights to Marvel, the MCU. But I think they're good films. They're both better than Spider-Man 3, but they're not as good as Tobey's 1 and 2. But Andrew Garfield is probably the best actor out of Tom, Tobey and Andrew. Andrew's the best actor by far. Venom, I hate it. I'm going to say Here's Your Change because obviously I've seen it. I can see why it makes money. It is all simply down to how good Tom Hardy is as Eddie Brock. His performance going back and forth with the symbiote, both voiced by him. How funny that is. He makes the film. The rest of the film, the side characters, his love interest, the villains are terrible. Absolutely terrible. Venom 2 isn't on this list for some reason. I would have it here. I would have Venom 2 at Butterfingers, to be honest. They've ruined Woody Harrelson. I love Woody Harrelson. Carnage was a terrible character in the Venom universe. I see why they make money. Of course they do. Of course they make money. It's Tom Hardy as Venom. He's a popular character, but I don't think they're good films. I don't think Sony can make a good film anymore. Outside of their animation team that does Across the Spider-Verse, I don't think Sony have it in them to make decent films anymore. They should just leave the Marvel characters to the MCU. If I was Sony, I'd be like, we'll still take 50% of the profits like we have been doing, but we won't make Spider-Man projects. You can make more with all of our rogue gallery. Because the MCU would be so much stronger for it. They'd make more money. I just don't get it. We actually missed out on 2 X-Men films here. X-Men Apocalypse is next. First off, I was going to say Days of Future Past is also up there because of that time in a bottle scene with Quicksilver. It's absolutely amazing. This is Butterfingers, ruining Oscar Isaac to the point where, like, he didn't even want to do Midnight. It's like, that's how bad this film served Oscar Isaac, one of the best actors around at the minute, in my opinion. Like, it was a crime. Breaking Quicksilver's leg and sidelining him for most of the film, and that's going to be an issue with Apocalypse as well. It's like, why do you do it? It's like, you have all these popular characters, great actors, like, just give them a good script. That's all they want. The very fact that after this film came out, when they were filming Dark Phoenix, Jennifer Lawrence begged to be killed off as Mystique early, so she didn't have to be in the rest of the film. When Fox was making these last couple, were they not thinking, maybe we should change it up because our actors really aren't into this? The actors know their characters best. They've been likes of Jennifer Lawrence have been playing Mystique for 3 films at that point. She knew her character, so if she's asking, kill me off. Just be done with it. Like, this is get out of my building. I'm putting it at the very bottom of all the list. It is embarrassing. The last 2 X-Men films is why Fox had no choice to sell to Disney. I'm so glad they did. I know a lot of people are saying, especially people I know have said, they don't want to see the MCU reboot the X-Men. People won't compare and all that. I think the MCU will do the X-Men justice. I would like to see the X-Men give like Cyclops a leadership role the way the Fox universe never did. Cyclops was a side character in the Fox universe. That's not what Cyclops is. He is a leader. He should be front and center, in front of Wolverine, in my opinion. Hopefully, if we get a character who isn't as larger than life like Hugh Jackman was, we'll be able to actually concentrate on Cyclops more, because he should be running the team. As simple as that. But there you have it, guys. That's my list. Didn't actually have any for how that get in there. Looks like none of them did get in there. Top of the list, we've got 1 Spider-Man, 5 X-Men properties, and a Blade. That's it. Just goes to show you that there's so many bad films out there. You've only got, like, this is probably called the top half. That's the bottom half, and that's average. You've got what, 11 films there, and you've got a lot more than that there. Yeah, so 16, it's like 18 films. You've 18 films down here, below average, and like 8 of them are trash. You couldn't pay me to watch them again. It'll never happen. But anyway, if you like this video, make sure to comment underneath, see what your I'm not expecting you to do a full tier list underneath, but if you could say what your favourite films are, if there's any films on my list you definitely disagree with or agree with, like and subscribe if you're new, and I shall see you on the next one.